you guys ever imagine 20 some odd years later, you'd still be at it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's
Yes, and if you don't, then
Probably not doing the right job.
Yeah, I mean, I was sure. I didn't know what that was going to look like and in what context that would be, but definitely.
That's pretty amazing. And I mean, you know, I mentioned this, I think last night, but I mean, as much as we tried our asses off to get a deal at the time, I'm sure glad we didn't.
Yeah, me too, man. You know, because like it was such an exciting whirlwind time, and then it was sort of crushing when it didn't work out in the moment. But I think if we had gotten that big deal at that time with the type of songs that I was writing in that moment, we would have been the tail end of that wave of music that was happening in that moment that was over a year later. And I think we would have been, I think our commercial career would have been over before it started.
I'm trying to remember what we would have even played at that point in time. Vertigo? What were the songs? I can't remember.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think like
Far From Here?
That would have been like our best one at the time,
we'd
right?
open with that one.
Push for that one, I think.
Like some songs that would end up on our first album, but a lot of them that didn't even make the cut for the first album was what we were playing. And I think we would have been in that last wave of artists that were around in like 2003 or whatever. And I think we would have been toast by 2004, you know?
Yeah.
I remember Fix Me and Skin and Bones were in the mix later. Because remember Jeff Blue really liked those ones?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember those were later though. Those were when I started, like, I can kind of look back at the songwriting from those times, and I remember, you know, really, really focusing on, because it was a fucking never ending thing of like, Jonathan, you would always say like, I'd give you a new batch of songs and you and everybody else, and it wasn't your fault, it was my fault for not being there, not have arrived yet, but you'd always be like, the next one's going to be quote unquote the one. And that was what I always heard from people. So it was like, I was always like, you know, getting positive reinforcement that I was on the right track, but also that I was not there yet. And I think if we had made an album at that time based on those showcases, it would have been 10 to 12 songs that weren't there yet. I think that's what would have happened.
Well, you know, I always say good A&R, really good A&R isn't just about seeing what an artist is. It's about seeing what an artist is going to be. Right. You know, and I mean, I knew that from the first time you were slipping those weirdo demos under my door in my law office. Like, you know, I remember listening, there'd be these weird fucking songs that were like, you know, 9 minutes long, didn't have repeating choruses. Yeah. But I remember thinking, man, like there are parts in there that are like crazy good if you could just learn how to connect them a little differently.